This morning we're with Steve O'Brien, the Chief of Police in Lenox, Massachusetts. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Steve, I talked to Smitty late last week about the virus, and he said that Massachusetts as a whole is doing better than other states in the country, but that the big hit is yet to come. And he thought that Berkshire County was doing probably one of the best in all the state. So is Lenox really? Are we pretty much staying at home and doing what we're supposed to?
Yes, for the most part. Generally, people are staying in, and you can tell that by the lack of traffic on our roadways, especially on the bypass 7 and 20. And when people do go out, a lot of people are using the roads to walk, and they're doing it with maybe one other person, and not getting in groups. So, and when somebody's coming the other way, they cross the road and social distance that way. So I think in Lenox, at least what I have seen is that people are adhering to the rules that are that the governor has brought forward.
Great. If there was like a large gathering in town all of a sudden, or a group of 15 or more got together, would you break it up?
We've had probably a half dozen calls where people were congregating where they shouldn't be. Just that has been taken care of. A lot of it had to do with parks and tennis courts and things like that. People thought that they should still be doing outside recreation that way.
Yeah.
And people ended up, more people ended up there than they expected. And people just tried to be nice and let it continue. But we haven't had many instances where we had to get involved because of congregating.
Right. They said last night on the news that the governor of Georgia opened up his beaches. It's interesting that some states have different ideas how to handle it as opposed to others, but I thought opening public beaches was probably
might be a little too soon for that.
I think so too. And I think, do you agree with Smitty that our peak is yet to come in the county, or do you think that we've pretty much plateaued?
I don't know the exact numbers on that, but we have to be getting close to hitting the peak of this.
Cool.
It's been quite a while, so I'm guessing that we're pretty close to the peak, if we're not already into it somewhat to level off.
Has EMS had to roll on a virus-related call, or has Lenox been spared the virus so far?
No, we have cases of COVID in Lenox.
Oh, yeah?
Sure. We do, and we're lucky to have the health department that we have because this is their deal. This is Tri-Town Health's the head is running the show here because this is a pandemic and a public health crisis.
Sure.
Not necessarily a law enforcement crisis. And we're lucky to have Jim Willis, the head of Tri-Town Health, who's done an excellent job spearheading and notifying all the agencies involved with him of what we have in our local areas.
Terrific. That's great. It really is. What about, it just as a quick side question, is Lenox is small, so hopefully the answer to this is no, but there hasn't been any spike in crime at all because it's easier for the bad guys to run around when there's nobody out in public.
We have not had any escalation in any types of crime, but we still continue to have normal situations where arrests need to be made or summonses need to be handled. Mm-hmm. People are still committing crimes.
Right. You know how many EMS calls have maybe gone out for Lenox? I'm on Morgan Manor facing Walker, and I do see the ambulance going by probably a little bit more than I had in the past.
Yeah, that's a question suited primarily for the fire chief, but I know as of recently they've been going on not necessarily more calls, but more vital needs for life-saving measures.
Yeah.
Not even related to COVID-19.
Oh.
It's just been there's something going on. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. And then I got the email when this all started. Actually, I think it was from your department to all the residents in town about how that's awesome volunteer effort for meals and to help maybe shut-ins and people who can't get out. Was there a good response to that call for volunteers?
Yeah, for the meals that they're making.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have the staff that they need to handle the delivery of the meals and the preparation of the meals, and they've been doing that nonstop since the beginning of this, and continue to do it to this day. And other restaurants in the community have jumped in on that and provided meals, so that this group of people just didn't have to. A couple days didn't have to take the lead on that. So other restaurants that I wouldn't want to. I know several of them in town. I just wouldn't want to leave somebody off by that.
Oh, sure, I understand.
Try to name it.
Yeah. The so, Smitty's biggest worry right now is if it gets extended and it gets into the summer months, that tourism is going to take a brutal impact. I mean, hopefully that doesn't happen. I know Tanglewood hasn't released their plan yet, although Jacob's Pillow did. God forbid it extends into June or July. Do you think we may lose some of our current businesses who just won't be able to get back up on their feet if this doesn't let go by the end of May?
I wouldn't even want to try to predict that, and I certainly hope that doesn't happen to any of these businesses, especially some of the new ones that have popped up and are trying to make a go of it.
Exactly.
But this is obviously a difficult situation for anybody that is a business owner, and they're going to unfortunately take a hit on this.
Yeah.
Even though we're not into the summer months yet. So.
Yeah.
I certainly hope that's not the case, but it could certainly happen.
Right. I hope not. Have we seen a lot of our second homeowners returning to get away from a New York situation?
We have a lot of second homeowners that came back to their homes, and hopefully most of them are self-quarantining for the 14 days or quarantining as much as they possibly can. I know that they get back here and probably need supplies and need to stock up.
Sure.
But hopefully they can do that and then get back to their homes and just remain there. But yes, we've had a lot of our second homeowners have returned to Lenox early.
Do they know they're supposed to quarantine, or is there a note on their door asking that they quarantine after they get back?
Oh, I think that the governor's message on that was pretty loud and clear, saying if you're coming here, please stay in your home.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Good for them if they're fortunate enough to be able to get away from New York. Yeah.
Yes.
What about people who just don't live here who want to, like that stunt that Blantyre pulled a week or so ago with that exorbitant overnight stay price? Do you know if we have outsiders coming in to escape?
Well, I know that the Tri-Town Health and Jim Willis processed a notification to every hotel and motel and short-term rental owner that specifically told them how they should handle this if people are coming in from out of state. And the governor as well put that out. And neither one of them minced any words. It's very clear on what you should do.
Right. All right, I'm going to let you go, Steve. What are you most optimistic about?
I'm most optimistic that we're very close to the peak of this, and we're going to start to level off here pretty soon. And I'm hoping that is the case. What I fear in our small police department is that one patrolman here get infected with this, and we haven't had that yet. But that would be detrimental to a small police department. So that is my biggest fear, and I hope everybody stays as healthy as possible here.
I agree, absolutely. Well, Chief O'Brien, thanks for your time. Wishing you well. If there's a call for more volunteers or anything, we'll get another email. Oh,
sure, it'll go out.
Okay.
Yep.
Good.
But I think they have the correct number of people, that they don't want to be overwhelmed with volunteers.
Yeah.
And they want to know the people that they're dealing with, a good crew of people that are delivering, going home to home, delivering, and preparing the meals. They have a very good group going on, and they're doing a great work.
Great. All right, Steve, stay well. Thanks for all the stuff that
Okay,
you
Leo.
do, and we really do appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Leo.
Thanks a lot. Bye now.
Okay, bye now.
I'm joined today with the lead chief of police, acting chief of police, Craig DeSantis, and lead fire chief Ryan Brown. Thanks for joining me this morning. And I have some questions about the virus. I spoke to Smitty last week, and he says he hopes that this week or next week, Massachusetts will peak. I'm not sure if that's going to happen or not. But the good news is what he said, that Massachusetts, in the big scheme of things, is one of the top 5 states in organization, which is really good to hear. And that Berkshire County in particular is the best county in the state for coordination. So I think a lot of that goes to, congratulations to, people like you who protect the towns. I was driving down Main Street Friday night, and it seemed awfully busy. There were a lot of people on the sidewalk, just taking their walks in there. Have you had any problem with too many people? I'll ask this to Craig. Have you had any people ignoring the stay-at-home order? Has it been a problem?
No, I'm not specifically aware of any groups of 10 or greater, generally speaking. We work with the Tri-Town Board of Health, and the governor's declaration basically names the local boards of health and their agents as the primary enforcement mechanism. But we have a great working relationship with them. So, if there's any issues, they'll call us, and they haven't needed to, I think, for the most part. Any complaints that they field, they're able to resolve it with just some simple warnings.
Oh, that's great. Good. Chief, I see the Lenox Fire Department driving by my street a lot lately. I asked Chief O'Brien about it yesterday. He just says that Lenox has just been busy with emergency calls, but he hasn't had any problem with Corona calls. Have you had any Corona calls in Lee?
That's a tough question to answer because we do have HIPAA, so we can't talk in great detail. But we've had calls of concern where our crews have been well protected, obviously there is Corona in Lee. There's Corona throughout the Berkshires, but I'm gonna take the political front on this and kind of skirt around the question a little bit. Of course we've had calls that have concerned us, and we protected against them. If we do get reports of confirmation of Corona, our crews are well informed so they can protect themselves also. But right now, it's every day's a day of doing business.
Good. That's good to hear. Hey, Craig, since there's no people with cars on the road, have you been a lot quieter in general on calls?
Yeah, we've noticed things like car accidents and, obviously crimes such as OEY. Those call numbers have gone down significantly.
Yeah. For both departments, how are you set with protective gear? Has it been an issue?
Well, Ryan and I, fortunately, we have a fantastic relationship, and we've been working together, and we've been very successful in keeping our staff well stocked.
Good. Ryan, the same with you guys, or you haven't had any problem with protective issues?
Yeah, we started watching the curve about 2 weeks ago. We put our initial order in 2 weeks ago for extra protection equipment, and that took a little time to receive. But since we organized throughout the county and NEMA's got really on board with the needs, we haven't had a problem with any resupplies, and we're well stocked to a suitable level for any possible threats from the virus to our staff and to the people that we transport. So I think we're like Craig had said, we're in a really good place.
That's great. Are you going to enforce the mask outside rule? Are you, if you see a lot of people without them, or you're gonna leave it up to them to, you know, people in town.
Can I jump on that quick, Craig?
Absolutely, yep.
I think the mask outside recommendation, which is I think where it stands right now, is an okay idea. The problem really with that is the availability of the masks themselves. I don't want to sound greedy, but with the face-to-face interactions that we do every day, we can't start handing them out to everybody walking on the street because we won't be able to protect our staff. And the same goes for the police staff. So it's a good idea. It's a better idea to follow the governor's mandate and stay at home. I mean, that really takes care of it. Understandably, people have to go out. But if you practice that good 6-foot social distancing, don't linger, and by all means, wash your hands as often as possible. And if you have a mask, it's not a bad idea. But if John Q. Public, hi John Q. Public, if you have a mask, I just want to, if I can, Leo, give them a couple pointers.
Sure, go right ahead.
Take your mask, and after you return home, give it a quick spray down with some Lysol or something like that, and then store it in a brown paper lunch bag.
Oh,
By putting it in a Ziploc bag, any of the moisture that the mask has absorbed from your breathing will be allowed to become a little petri dish. If you put it in a brown paper bag, the brown paper bag will help absorb the moisture, act like a desiccant, and preserve that mask for multiple uses. We're forced in EMS to use a mask over and over and over again by properly decontaminating it, and the public should really use that standard also, because again, they're getting easier to get, but they're still few and far between.
I've been watching the news constantly since this broke, and that's the first time I heard that about protecting your mask and getting multiple uses out of it. That's a great idea. Hey, Craig, do you think that that's kind of a security issue sometimes with a lot of people with masks on, walking into bank? Well, I guess you can't walk into the bank now, but you know, hiding their face for nefarious reasons.
No, I don't think it will be, Leo. I mean, honestly, our community is a close, tight-knit community, and we know most of the people here, and we recognize suspicious behavior when we see it versus somebody legitimately trying to protect themselves. And, you know, to answer your question and elaborate maybe a little further, look, there's so many variables out there as far as enforcement goes. You know, what we would do and what we have done is we look at each situation and, you know, we make a determination what seems appropriate. So generally speaking, yeah, no, we're not going to get involved with telling people to wear masks or not wear masks. But if we see a situation that seems like a threat to public safety or you know, something that's really acute, we'll address it. Otherwise, you know, for the most part, I think people recognize the risks and they're taking appropriate precautions.
Yeah, that's good news. How's your staffs doing? I mean, are you missing anybody because of illness, or how are your folks still working?
They're a fantastic bunch here, the staff at BPD. I mean, they're a very resilient group. So we've had a couple of situations where we've had to quarantine officers. I myself, for a short time, had to quarantine waiting on a test result. But we've been fortunate. Everything's been negative, and right now we're fully staffed, so we're doing well.
How's the fire department doing?
We've had 2 quarantines within our ranks, and just like with Craig's case, they were precautionary quarantines. We've had awaiting test results. We've had no one that's gotten sick yet, and we hope that that's the course we hold. We keep saying that we're operating at 98%, and we hope to stay that way.
That's great. You have such a good relationship with Lenox. I'm sure that you can do a lot of handoff with personnel should it get critical or anything like that.
We've started, much like on the police side, some potential plans should something infect our department on how we would need to work together. The biggest fear with this, and I'll speak for Craig a little bit because we've had this conversation over and over again, is our departments are so small.
Yeah.
If one crew gets infected, it really debilitates our mission critical status. And we can only ask our people to double up on shifts so many times before we wear them out.
Yeah.
So we have we've got plans in place to bring in supplemental people on especially on the ambulance corps, and hopefully we don't have to use those plans. It all comes down to and it'll keep popping up. Wash your hands and protect yourself.
Yeah, yeah. I guess New York City got crushed with their police department. Almost 8,000 officers are out as of, that's what CNN reported last night. I mean, I know it's a huge force, but 8,000 officers out, that's gotta hurt.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking percentages, Leo. I believe they have a standing force of like 32,000.
Wow.
So, while it's definitely a big hit on their staffing levels, these larger agencies are able to better absorb. That's why we have to do everything we can in these smaller agencies to protect our staff when and where we can.
Yeah. Town's functioning well with the town hall being closed, as far as you know?
Yeah, a lot of stuff that they historically did, face to face, they're just doing by email and phone and mail correspondence.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not ideal for sure, and we're looking forward to getting back to a regular operating procedure. But in the meantime, it seems to be a good fix.
Good.
I guess a good thing about that the townspeople need to know is the building's closed, but town's still open. The beauty of, here we three of us are having a conversation from different rooms. We meet on the same format with our town manager, our board of health. The critical infrastructure is still working from home, able to do the same thing they do just at home. So town hall's open, it's just closed to the public.
I suppose town meeting may get delayed because most of them are in May. Are your budgets okay? I mean, will they approve your budgets before the emergency's over, do you think? Or will your budgets get approved around the time that they should be?
That's in flux right now. I mean, this is such a fluid situation, but bottom line is one way or the other, we'll have a gap stop or it'll be approved as normal, one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel confident in our town management to lead us on the finance end, especially through this flawlessly.
Ryan and I were talking, Chief, before you came on, and we were talking about the tourist industry and how devastating this has been. I don't see a crystal ball on either desk, but do you have any idea? I'll start with you, Ryan. Any idea how we might be looking for the tourist season, if you had to guess?
I don't think it would be fair to anyone for us to even speculate. I know that the summer months, the major industry around here is accommodating the tourists. We are, after all, the gateway to the Berkshires.
Yeah.
So if the tourist industry falls off, it's going to hurt. Let's we'll be honest, but let's hope that as the weather clears and as people follow the right thing and this virus clears, that we can recover a good tourism season.
Yeah, even if it starts late.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Craig, I was talking to Smitty, and him and I agree that there shouldn't really be any issue at all with second homeowners coming up, regardless where they live, to their second home, as long as they're supposed to quarantine. I'm sure you saw in the Eagle what Blantyre tried to pull a couple weeks ago. So have you had any influx in your summer second home people, do you know? I know O'Brien told me that Lenox second homeowners are definitely in their houses now, and that they came up, but we haven't had a problem with them. That they've been staying home when they get up because there's a notice that they should do a 14-day quarantine. Are your second homeowners in?
Yeah, so it's hard, Leo, to quantify for sure which of our second homeowners are here. Having said that, though, there's definitely a feel based on seeing homes occupied that aren't normally occupied this time of year. So to answer your question, yeah, we've had an influx. We just don't know to what extent.
Right.
And they're coming from another state. We're hoping that they're going to follow the advisory guidance from the governor and quarantine themselves. Just as a protective measure for them and us. And that's important. But having said that, I think it's also important for people to realize that second homeowners, and I'm not talking about short-term rentals or hotels or motels, but they do have a right to utilize their home, and they're taxpayers and they contribute to the communities. So we don't want confrontations out in our community on this subject. For the most part, I feel like we have a pretty cohesive and positive relationship between the year-round residents and the second homeowners, because again, I do think they have been doing what they should do as far as quarantining when they first get here.
Exactly. That's what Chief O'Brien said. So, well, I'm going to wrap it up, but let me ask you, Craig, what's your biggest fear going forward? And then tell me what you're most optimistic about.
Well, I don't know that it's a fear so much as a concern, but I'm always thinking about the safety of the staff here at Lee PD. They're out there every day, they're serving our community, and there's additional risks now that, we haven't had or seen in the past. So, dealing with that, that's always a concern. The other concern, I want to make sure that we're addressing any anxiety or fear in our community. People are scared, they're anxious about issues surrounding COVID. We're trying to use community engagement to just reassure our citizens that, look, we're here for you. We will continue to serve and protect our wonderful community. And I think that especially the children, some of the programs we've rolled out, such as a community wave parade and the bedtime story, I think that all helps, and we'll continue to do that. As far as optimism, look, I think that this pandemic is going to start to recede over the next several weeks, and I know Lee is an amazing community full of resilient people. We'll get through this, and I think we're going to come out stronger on the other side.
Any thoughts?
Fears, I guess I can kind of shadow Craig's feeling about this. We've got to keep our staff healthy. That's the only way we can do our vocation and serve the community. On a personal note, because of what I do every day, my fear is for the safety of my family. I mean, I come home every day, and we've started a ritual of, I don't come in with my boots on, I don't come in with my uniform on, I go right to the shower, so I can help protect my family. But the fear really is this disease, and anyone that says they're not afraid of it isn't paying attention.
Absolutely.
Optimisms, again, Lee is a great town. Lee is that quintessential New England small town. We're like this, and this is just making us a stronger community. The outpouring of I don't know what the right word is, charity from the community in between. Yeah, I mean, the support that they've given us. People have offered to buy us meals, offered to buy us groceries, and that's small town America at its finest. And our town is only going to be stronger after we get through this, and we will get through this, for sure.
What a great way to end that conversation. Man, thanks a lot for your time. I appreciate it. You deserve a huge round of applause. Keep up the good work, and if there's anything you guys need from CTSB or anything, give us a call. We'll be sure to help.
Okay, Leo, thank you. It was nice talking to you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Ryan. Bye, man. Thank you.
Bye.